Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to tie a bloodworm midge. We're just going to use a plain red hook. This is just a salmon egg hook that's just in the red. I used to fish these a lot in tailwaters, just any kind of bloodworm midge. You could throw on just a bare red hook, but being a fly fisherman, I always felt bad fishing a bare red hook and not putting any feathers or fur on it. So what I decided to do is I started wrapping on some tippet material. So I spun this bobbin, just covered up some of my thread. Then I spun the bobbin with 5X tippet material. And I'll be able to use that to tie down some of the other materials that will make this bloodworm midge really stand out. It's my own design. And I'm going to be fishing this with some 20-pound mono-filament. So any kind of mono will work. If you want to use 20-pound, you can do that. If you want to use something that is bigger, if you're making bigger flies, smaller for smaller flies. Like I said, this is a pretty big hook that we're putting on today. Just a red salmon egg hook. Now what I'm going to do with this 20-pound mono is I'm going to hold it up on top of the hook, and I'm going to use the 5X tippet material just to wrap it back. Trying your best to keep it up on the top of the hook. If you want to make all your wraps nice and pretty and tight together, that's fine. It's not going to matter on this fly because you're not going to be able to see these wraps once we're done. But by putting on the tippet and the mono, it's going to give this bloodworm midge a great effect. It's a great tailwater fly, great early season fly when you're getting the spring runoffs. If you tie it up nice and big, you can just use it as a worm. I've never seen anybody else use monofilament. This was kind of my own design, but I'm not going to go ahead and claim it without knowing for sure, because who knows, there's always somebody out there that's done it first. But I welcome you to improve on this model, change it up. So now we're going to take this 20-pound mono, and once we get it started, we'll wrap that right up to the top of the hook. Now you can use your vise to do this. Or you can just barehand it, whatever works out best for you. Sometimes I'll tie this up on a really, really small size 18 or 20 bare red. And you can use even just 8-pound test line. Would work out just fine. But you can start to see some of the way that red hook comes through on this mono. And when that's in the water, it gives you even more sparkle and flash and translucence, and it just adds that appearance of it actually being a worm or being a midge. And we'll just use this mono and tie this piece down just a little bit. Now this 20-pound test line is pretty stiff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to come in here at the head, and I'm going to tie in some black floss. This is a G size, but you could go with a 3/0, which would be just fine. If you're tying smaller flies, you can make it as small as you want. You guys know what you're doing. You've tied flies before. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to cut off my tippet material and my extra string. Build this up just a little bit so that we can get a good wrap, and we're going to put just a little bit of peacock curl on the front. If you are making a really small fly, say a size 18, size 20, you can add just a piece of peacock curl on the front. Works really good. Bare red hook, peacock curl, especially on any kind of tailwater. So now I'm just going to put on just this little bit of peacock herl. Single strap. You could use more if you wanted to, 3 or 4 herls. Put a half hitch on just so that I don't get in the way, and I'm going to hand wrap this one too. And I don't really ever care if it goes forward, back, over top of itself. I'm just making a ball of peacock herl up here on the front. Put that peacock up to the eye. Put just a small little black head on that guy. A couple of hitches. You can whip finish if you want. I head cement everything, especially when I'm deep nymphing and I go through a lot of flies. So I don't get too OCD on it. Usually have my tag end out the bottom. Small dot of head cement. Work that into the threads. And there you have it. Just makes for a great translucent fly. You get a good presentation out of it. A lot of fun to fish. Hopefully that gives you some ideas to tie some of your own.